WaPo fires over 300 journalists.
Damn.
As Jeff Bezos discriminated against white workers, allegedly.
What?
Okay, wait a minute.
Uh-oh. He's
white.
white.
WaPo fires over 300 journalists as Jeff Bezos ignores correspondent. Please, I combined two stories together.
Oh, it's okay.
Please, by the way, that sounded good, though.
I was like, he's white, though.
Let me go to it. All right, page 28 is the story. Rob, do you have this? I think you may have a clip on this. So WaPo on Wednesday announced layoffs for a third of its newsroom, including its entire sports desk, ignoring reporters' impassioned pleas to billionaire owner Jeff Bezos. More than 300 journalists. Go ahead, Rob. Play the clip.
The Washington Post, owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, began widespread layoffs on Wednesday in a move that would drastically shrink the size of the newspaper. That's according to a recording of a company-wide call shared with Reuters. A spokesperson for the newspaper said the cuts will impact a third of all employees.
Damn.
Executive editor Matt Murray told employees the reductions will hit international, editing, metro, and sports desks. The announcement comes just days after the paper scaled back its coverage of the 2026 Winter Olympics amid mounting financial losses. News outlets have struggled for years to maintain a sustainable business model in the digital era.
You can pause it right there. Tom, thoughts?
So isn't it interesting that the world's second richest man who bought a newspaper, and he said on the day he bought it, to save democracy, right? Is that okay? Let me tell you, he's a businessman. And in the last 3 years, 1 year was a $64 million loss. 1 year was a $111 million loss. Check me on those numbers, but I believe those are correct. And he's finally saying, wait a minute, I don't know if we can make a business out of this. This has to go to digital subscriptions. I saw a chart yesterday published by the Wall Street Journal that showed that only the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times were having profitable success long-term on digital subscription as papers disappear. It's very interesting is we're down here in South Florida, and you remember how big the Sun Sentinel used to be. My father-in-law will come from Idaho, stay with us for about, a month and a half at a time, and he wants a daily paper. So we get the Sun Sentinel. Have you seen how big that is now? It's small. It's like a pamphlet. That's what's happened to the newspaper. So it's a business that is dying. The internet is killed it. Instant news is dead. And Bezos did this, I think, to control narrative and things. Now, it's a business decision he's making. Well, there was also a business decision he made where they were ready to go. It used to be when you run for office, what do you want? You want the police chief, you want the fire chief, you want the newspaper, all to give you an endorsement. Oh, look, the mayor has been endorsed by all these people in the League of Women's Voters. If you got that, then you got all the people that represented that. Then all you needed was the teachers union. And in the small town mayor, you probably would win. So these were important vehicles in our history in elections. They were about to come out and endorse Kamala Harris. And Bezos pulled it. He said, no, we will be neutral. We will support no one. The newsroom erupted and said, we think you're making the wrong call. Now, for America, I think Bezos made the right call. But to tell you who was subscribing to the Washington Post, they lost 200,000 digital subscriptions in the next, 30 to 60 days that was there. So they didn't have a profitable business. They don't have a profitable business. Now, there are better ways to do this because the layoff was happening. And where's Bezos? Bezos should have been there and should have been able, like most entrepreneurs do, say, well, this part didn't work, this part did, but I tried. Failure is the freedom to fail. It's part of entrepreneurship. It's part of American capitalism. Instead, people think that Bezos has been cozying up to Trump to get certain benefits for other businesses that he wants, such as Amazon, and he has a space business, and he was actually giving a spaceport tour to J.D. Vance, supposedly at the exact time that the announcements of the layoffs were made to the people, and that the executive editor wasn't even on the call when people were told, you know how they did it, Pat? Don't come to work tomorrow, get on an 8 a.m. Zoom, and then watch your email.
Let me ask this though, Tom. He bought it in October of 2013 for $250 million. He just let go of 300 journalists. I looked at online what the average salary is, between between $55 to $200,000. Let's take the average of $120,000 salary.
That's fair.
120,000 times 300. That's $36 million a year in savings. Okay, automatically that you save that $36 million. Do you think he's sitting there? You know, sometimes you buy a business and you buy it for different reasons to feed the flywheel, and it ends up creating a lot of noise. Do you think WaPo has been the #1 noise creator for him, that he probably sits there saying, why the hell did I get into this business?
I think that's very true. When he bought it, I read, and this goes back years ago, I read an analysis. It was like a private equity analysis. You know, when private equity buys, you and I are in this business, private equity buys a business, they immediately trim certain things.
Sure.
Well, the question was, why the hell would any daily newspaper have its own sports section when ESPN and the leagues have their own sites, their own apps and everything? What are you going to add to conversation about the Washington Nationals that the MLB app, MLB.com, and ESPN don't always already cover?
So you would have cut that day one.
I would have cut that day one and just say, hey, we're going to be about the community. We're going to be about the political dialogue. We're going to bring you angles on international things. And I would have looked at what really, really works and what's not redundant, and what can I, crazy entrepreneurial capitalist word, what can I differentiate on? Rather than me too, me too, me too, me too. And so I think this has created a lot of noise for Bezos over the last 5 years, and it's created a hole at the bottom of his pocket. Remember, what did he pay for it? $250?
$250 in October of 2013.
What's
And
it worth
he
now?
self-funded 107.
Half.
In the last 3 years, he self-funded 174 in losses.
By the way, let me ask you a question. If he puts it on the market right now for sale, how many buyers are there that for just vanity reasons would buy it?
I think there's a reasonable number of buyers. The LA Times syndicate has got it kind of turned around. I don't know if they have the capital, but they've had a bloody path of their own, a terrible path of their own, the LA Times. So I think someone would be there, but I don't think there's going to be a line at the door. I mean, take a look at CNN. How long did they try to sell that before the current situation with WBD? They were trying to sell CNN at the last 2 Allen conferences, and Zaz couldn't get any takers. We talked about that on this podcast. And you would ask the same question, Pat. You would say, doesn't someone see value in CNN to come in and turn it right? I know what I would do.
I mean,
with
Mark
that.
Benioff just came out and said, Time Magazine, we're just not making money with Time Magazine.
Yeah.
And he bought it for, I don't know what he paid for, $350 something when they bought it. And Rob, if you want to look this up, and that created a ton of noise. I do think there's a lot of people that would buy it. You know, there's certain assets I'm looking up right now. New York Times has roughly 11.88 million total paid subscribers, with 11.3 million digital only. Okay.
New York Times and Wall Street Journal are the best in digital, and
Sure.
they're making money.
That's right.
Very few others are.
WaPo has 2.3 million, those two combined. I'm trying to figure out what LA Times is. Apparently, LA Times' print and digital is 650,000, which means, and by the way, you know what Peter paid for LA Times?
LA.
$500 million.
Oof.
I don't know. I think he can probably turn this and make a profit and sell it for $500 million. As crazy as it sounds, I think some billionaire would buy it from him. I don't know why Bezos is not dumping WaPo and moving on with his life. It's creating so much. If I was his PR rep, or if I'm his agent manager, sitting there saying, Jeff, why?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? There's nothing you can do right that you're going to win with WaPo. Dump the damn thing. Let me get to work and sell it at a discount. We'll still get $450 for it and make you an additional $200 million. I would dump WaPo in a heartbeat if I was him. Adam.
Well, I think he is regretting purchasing it. The day that Trump got reelected in 2024, he's like, yeah, I'm out on this. Because if Trump didn't get reelected, all the media landscape would be completely different right now. So look at all the billionaires who have spent money on media. You're not doing it namely as just an investment. So take what Elon did and saved free speech, $44 billion I think he spent on X. That's an anomaly. Most of these guys who are worth hundreds of billions are spending hundreds of millions on media. 1% of their net worth. This isn't a big transaction for someone like Bezos. He's worth $250 billion. He bought this for $250 million. It's just a drop in the bucket. 1%. He spent $500 million on his mega yacht. Bezos. So this to me is nothing. This is all about controlling the narrative, making
he's not,
impression
though.
on
But
culture.
he's not
It's
able
not
to do it.
controlling the narrative.
But
It's just
he's
noise.
not able to do it.
Because
Less than noise.
Trump became president. If Trump wasn't president and Kamala was president, you don't think you'd be railing on what's going on here? Kamala using that as like a leverage to getting closer to the administration. So now, was Bezos at the inauguration? Yes or no? He was. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg was famously looking at Bezos' wife's chesticles, whatever you want to call them. So he's playing a hard game now.
Nobody uses that.
Nobody
word.
uses that.
I've never heard it.
I've never heard
That's
that.
right.
Ever. But go
Try
ahead.
not to get canceled by the trans community, but with chest feeding.
She ain't trans, baby.
Once Trump became president, Bezos was like, "Oh no, now
He
I'm
bought
caught
it
in
in
the middle of a
13,
pickle."
though. He
here.
bought it in
But by the
13.
way, I disagree. The greatest
13.
time
Yeah.
for
I don't think so.
media is Trump. If you can't make money in media now,
Very good point.
If you can't make money now, you are not going to make it after
Right.
Trump.
But I
And
understand
sell
that.
it today.
Yeah, I
Because it's never going to
I
get as good as
understand that,
this.
but
Dump it.
Bezos wants to get closer to the Trump administration for other reasons.
But by the way, Bezos
For
is-
Amazon and
okay,
for Blue Origin.
You asked a question earlier why people got close to Epstein, right? So we talked about how billionaires are not cool. You know, cool people don't have money, they're broke, all these different reasons. Bezos is the face of billionaires who were not cool.
Yeah.
And he tried to become cool. So he got some TRT in his body looks good, exercises,
Yeah.
became cool, dates a
Moved to
beautiful girl,
Miami.
moved to Miami. He's kind of trying to get through that phase.
Launched
But to
Katy
me,
Perry.
number one advice today, dump this damn asset. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 12 months we hear a story that Jeff Bezos has sold WaPo for $339 million to some other billionaire out there. Don't be surprised if it happened this quickly. He's at a phase of his life that he needs to minimize noise. He's graduated into the cool phase now. You don't need to do this anymore.
But then he won't own a media asset.
Now, go buy a sports team. Go buy something else. Don't do this. You can be cool. Sports owners are different. They're cool. If you think about sports owners like, hey, you know, they go to Thai massage places. You know, they go to different kind of places. Sports owners, they have a different kind of a reputation in the marketplace, right?
Don't go after my guy
Who?
over there.
Who-
The
Did I?
Patriots.
Well, we're going to get into that here in a minute
have
because
to.
we got to find out who's going to do this. But if you're watching this and you want to insure yourself, do yourself a favor and go buy the shirt allegedly. Because when you're going through moments like this, never has there been a more important time to walk around making sure everybody knows you lean on the word allegedly because that's the biggest insurance policy you can have nowadays as long as you use the word allegedly. So if you want to protect yourself, go to vtmerch.com, get yourself an allegedly shirt or a hat, walk around at work with your family, with your friends, and just say, allegedly, this is what I heard. You will be protected, just like many others do, wearing the allegedly gear. And it is one of the greatest conversation starters. No matter where you're at, people look at you, they smile, and it goes
I'm
into a
curious,
conversation.
in a court of law,
Yeah.
in a court of law, Jared, you would know this. If you're wearing that shirt and you're talking just out of your butt and you're saying crazy stuff, in court, you just be like,
Allegedly,
hey,
I heard.
I didn't say it out loud,
Allegedly.
but the shirt
Yeah.
is saying it.
Some
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.